You're listening to the Expert Insights podcast, the home of leading cybersecurity conversations.
Hello, I'm Joel Witz. I'm the content director at Expert Insights and host of the Expert Insights podcast. We're here live at the RSA Conference 2024, and I'm joined today by Craig McAlpine, Expert Insights CEO and founder, and Larry Wiggins, VP of Security Technology and Operations at Cloudflare. Larry, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So, could I kick off this conversation by asking you, what is the number one issue the Cloudflare team are here at RSA to talk about this year?
Sure. I think we've got several topics that we're going to talk about, not the least of which is obviously election security around the world. Obviously, we're going to talk about AI. I'll also be talking Thursday about supply chain attacks and how we can better mitigate those.
Fantastic. And Cloudflare recently released its DDoS threat report for Q1 2024, which found a 50% increase in DDoS attacks. So, Cloudflare, obviously best known as a DDoS protection company. What do you see as driving the increase in DDoS, and how are the attacks evolving?
Sure. So, DDoS attacks used to be fairly straightforward, fairly nuisance-based, right? Let's put a company on its knees, block it, but then kind of back off, and the company resumes operations. What we're seeing more and more is DDoS attacks are being used to actually leverage much more malicious attacks. So for instance, we're seeing heavier traffic flows, more requests per second, bigger breakdowns in the attacks. We're also seeing more widespread attacks. So what it ultimately comes to from Cloudflare's perspective is that these DDoS attacks that we're seeing, they're really nothing new. It's just a new way to use an old tool. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Within the sort of small, medium-sized businesses, how do you see DDoS attacks, particularly affecting small businesses?
Absolutely. So, DDoS attacks used to be targeted largely at government and large business enterprises. But because of the proximity to the supply chain, it's just as easy to knock a big business and a major player offline by attacking a supply chain, second, third, fourth party. So those small and medium-sized businesses often don't have the security capabilities to protect themselves from a DDoS attack. So now they're being attacked as a way to leverage up to the larger scale enterprises.
And Cloudflare, we're really seeing you guys as becoming a market leader in the SASE and security service edge space, offering a consolidated platform for network security. Can you talk a little bit about the benefits of that approach for teams and what you're sort of seeing in that space?
Absolutely. So when we talk about SASE and zero trust access, what we're really talking about is how do we trust, how do we limit and restrict trust to those individuals who in applications and ultimately other clouds that are accessing our networks. The old days of being able to VPN from a known location into a data center are largely gone. At this point, you connect remotely to a data center, a cloud, a company, a SaaS application. So what we're really looking at with zero trust access and with SASE products is how do we on-ramp into a premise. And that's where Cloudflare tries to take their connectivity cloud and connect not just SaaS providers, other public clouds, Cloudflare's cloud, and on-prem applications all into one network, and then protect that network and the users that use it.
Absolutely. And, just to circle back, you mentioned around election security and that being one of your talking points. Can I ask you where do you see Cloudflare positioned in that conversation? What do you see that issue that you're here to discuss?
Absolutely. So anytime there's geopolitical problems, we see a significant uptick in attacks. We see it when Sweden and Finland join NATO, and we start seeing the number of DDoS attacks against their sites spike up. We see it preempting and during the troubles in the Middle East in October. So anytime we see those types of geopolitical problems, or there's an election at play, we start seeing websites attempted to be taken offline. We start seeing more requests to have sites taken offline or DNS removed as a way to impede information flow. And ultimately, where Cloudflare wants to be in the middle of, and often does get in the middle of, is our ability to protect that data flow, protect that information flow, and make sure that elections can go unimpeded, or as unimpeded as possible.
With the election in the US this year, potentially an election in the UK, I suppose a busy year for the Cloudflare.
It's absolutely going to be a big year.
Yeah. So, on that note, what new innovations and announcements can we expect to see from Cloudflare this year?
We're focused a lot around obviously protecting elections. We're also focused very heavily on AI and continuing to protect against DDoS. As far as big announcements, we're focused on how we can best serve our customers, best protect customers, and keep those elections free.
Yeah. And if you could give one piece of advice to the CISOs and security leaders attending the conference this year, what would it be?
Continue to learn, always. AI is currently the big thing. Obviously, there's risks, threats, and opportunities on all sides of AI, whether you're looking at it from the standpoint of how do I protect my data going into the LLM, or how do I better leverage an LLM to get better information and better insights. I think every CISO out there is struggling with multiple stakeholders in their company that want to leverage AI to do things faster, do things with fewer people. And ultimately what it's going to come down to is what is the actual business use case? And CISOs are going to be expected to manage those use cases, secure those use cases. So I think taking the opportunity here at RSA to learn more about it, learn how they can protect it, learn how they can use it to further their own security needs. I think learning is the best opportunity that they've got.
Absolutely. And my final question for you is, what's most exciting you in the cybersecurity space today?
I'd be lying if I didn't say it was AI.
Yeah.
I think there's huge opportunities that we are only just starting to tap. Everybody looks at AI as how can I do things faster? Whether if I'm a developer, how can it redevelop the things that have already been done? And then there's obviously the large data set problems. But I think the most exciting parts of AI, as it relates to security, have yet to be discovered.
Fantastic, Larry. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us today.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
Thank you.